Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel, and yes, it is me, Rosgrease Gaming, and, well, it's that time actually we do something we haven't done in a long time in this channel. We have gone on to the public test server, as you clearly can see. Well, welcome guys, and welcome to the public test server on 0. And you guys can see right here. Public test server 0.9.4.0. And, well, we got a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about, and there will be some gameplay, of course. You know, we can't leave without doing some gameplay if I know what you're thinking about, and you probably are immediately thinking about it right now. Yes, I'll get on with it. So, we're getting a couple things. First things first, it seems like they are right off the bat on the Russian line. You can see it's not here, but you can see over here, Soviet Cruisers event, which means before you know it, it will be that time when we have to go through another line. Yes, we just got done with the European cruisers last patch, and now you're getting the Russian cruisers. Oh, I am so sorry for all you warship fans for having to work your butts off. Yes, there's a Hall of Fame too, just like last patch, but I digress. You can see here's all your directives. Now, I finished all mine, but you can go and take what you got from them. There is a lot of containers you're going to get. And these containers give you different things. And you can see that there's going to be a couple ships that we're going to get. Looks like we get some of the tiers you can unlock early, as pretty much noted here. That's going to give you early creds and early buffs into things. And this is also going to give you these containers. These are the new Soviet containers. And if I'll show you what's opening one, they give you tokens. Now, let's open all of them just for giggles here. 43 of them. One shot. This is what probably be the most cases you're going to get. You're probably going to get all your tokens, and then you can take those. And unfortunately, it doesn't show you in here, but you probably would be going into the armory here, letting it load up, and going somewhere right around in the research bureau, right around here with the new event. Now, unfortunately, Wargaming hasn't shown off in here, but does that really matter? The point of showing it is that this patch, it's coming. You guys need to be ready. Get ready for those objectives that are going to be coming out next patch. So, I know we're already talking about next patch already, but it is fast approaching. Before you know it, we will just sneeze and it's going to happen. And I'm hoping you're not sneezing because you're sick. And we know why. We don't talk about thou shalt be named, but we're pointing that out. Now, let's also point out that there's other things that they're going to be doing. You can see there's a different map. Yes, that's right. It looks a little familiar, but it's not. It looks a little bit like the Black Sea map that we've seen before, but it isn't. This is the new Novorossiysk. It's a reskin of another map, and they redid it a little bit just to make it look a little better. And this is going to be the new map for the Russian cruiser line. You get the dockyards and stuff like that, and it'll go from there. Now for the pressing matter at hand. Let's talk about submarines. I know we're going to get a lot of people that are going to be very, very triggered by me talking about it right in this channel, but we can't ignore it. I can't ignore it. You can't ignore it, because if you and me ignore it, we're going to be blindsided by this and having to talk about it later. And we need to talk about the preliminary talks about this and how this is going to go. So far in the test server, they've given us 3 submarines at tier 6. The S1, the U-69, and of course the Americans all popular Kanchelot. This is definitely a predecessor to like a Gato class submarine. Very, very rudimentary, some of these submarines. Now, does it really matter about your health pulls and everything else mechanically? What our main goal with these focuses we need to talk about is 2 things. Well, maybe a few things here. So the main thing is, each ship's going to have a different skill set. Now, what I mean by that, it appears that Wargaming has done And I'll point it out. Let's filter only the submarines in this. So we got our 3 here. Watch the ammunition and consumables like you don't really do. Do you notice that there's changes? Yes, that's right. There is going to be different abilities for some of these ships. It appears that the Americans are going to be the speed runners. The Soviets are going to be the healing from near death. And the Germans are going to be spotting everything from a short acquired range. Now, bear with it. I'm hearing rumors that this is getting nerfed on the Germans. The hydroacoustic might be getting changed on the German line. I can't actually confirm this. I'm just hearing rumors and speculation that this might be happening. So take it for what's worth. I cannot give you the exact information of who said it and what said it. I just heard rumors. Somebody said it to me. I don't remember his name. Fair enough. Now, each ship, as you can clearly see, have different abilities of like stronger amounts of batteries, etc., etc. But the mechanics seem to be quite the same. We'll explain that as we go into a match. Now, what counters them? Well, let me show you. Unfortunately, I have to be the bearer of bad news, as only a select few ships have that ability. Battleships and aircraft carriers are going to be given the short straw and not having any way to defend themselves against these submarines. So if all the destroyers are gone, and all the subs are gone, and all the other specific... So unfortunately, folks, that's getting, there's going to be a few specific ships that you're going to have a short straw with. Unfortunately, you battleship players and you aircraft players, we're going to be having the drawing a short straw here, as you have no way to defend yourself against these submarines. There's no defensive systems or anything. Unless the submarine comes above the water, then you can shoot them. But other than that, it's basically impossible to get these guys, which will lead into our discussion after the fact about it. Now let's get into what ships can counter it. Well, from what we can see, of course, every destroyer has that ability. You can see if I hit this, now there's a new consumable in here called ASW. It tells you the maximum damage, the number of depth charge groups, number of depth charges in a group, the depth charge group reload time, and the hydrophone action range. For those who don't know what hydrophone is, that is when basically there is a sonar ping underneath the ship that is actually pinging under the water, and if it bounces back onto a structure such as a submarine moving, or it's hearing its propellers going, it knows there is a ship there on the water, and that acquires its target. So this is saying that it's going to acquire those targets from 6 kilometers out, and you'll be able to note that there's something out there until you get right on top of him and screw his day up. Now, what other ships, Raz? Well, that's where things get interesting. As you can clearly see, the Dallas has it too. A limited amount of charges, but it does have it. But however, yes, Buddy Honey has it, but watch what happens when I hit Pensacola. See, ASW disappeared. So that means that ship doesn't have it. Bonani, yes. Molotov? Nope. Even though you can clearly see on the back of this thing, there's depth charges right there. Oh well. Nuremberg? Nope. Nope, no depth charges. And to be fair, I don't see any laying around the ship, so, well, that makes sense. The British? Well, it's kind of easy to understand. Watch when I hit Devonshire. Nothing. Lander. Why, yes, Raz, of course. You can drop some depth charges. You can see the barrels right there on the back of the ship. So, of course, you can drop some depth charges on somebody and ruin their fun day. The French? Even though it looks like it has depth charges in certain spots, not in this one because it's space camo. Unfortunately, no. The Italians? Nope. So, unfortunately, there's only a handful of ships that can get this ability to drop explosives. So, from what we can see preliminary, it means that only light cruisers of any respective nation gets the ability to do depth charges and all of their destroyers respectively. Now, I do feel like this is an actually understandable idea how that's going to be a meta, but my only concern always has been with what's going to happen with these submarines. They have a really broken idea that I actually would say that is kind of problematic, but we'll get into it actually right about here. Let's go into a match and let me show you folks what I'm talking about on this side, and then we'll flip it, and then we'll do the discussion on how the interaction with a cruiser or a destroyer does in a match. Let's get into it. Okay, folks, so now we are in a match in a submarine. Now, this is the German Tier 6 submarine so far that's in the works. Now, remember, folks, that anything in the public test server is scheduled to change, as you should know by now. For God's sakes, people, it's kind of a no-brainer if a ship's on the public test server that it's still in. What's the answer? Testing! Thank you. And yes, the horn on these things does work. Now, I do tap a little bit in here, but I wanted to also explain certain things about the ship while, this is going on gameplay-wise. Now, the one thing about these submarines that is so particularly interesting is, well, your CNF is going to be controlling of your dive. Now, in the game, you can see that there's 3 consumables. Your repair, your damage control. I always, for some reason, say repair party multiple times, but it's damage control. And your two common ones actually are going to be your damage control, and you can see it looks like a gauge. That's to activate if you need to get out of there and you really need to get into a deep dive. You can hit that key and your submarine can go to a further depth than it's normally safe can go. Now, bear with it. Once that consumable goes down, you need to get surface back up to a safe level that you can operate. So, be aware of that. Now, I'll explain a little bit about the mechanics with this ship, okay? Now, as you can see, there is 2 gauges on your submarine. Now, there's a top one that shows, well, your health. Now, there's a white bar, and you can see it's in the middle of the window key that you can see we're rotating 360 in. That's your battery, and once it goes down to 0, you're down to a crawl speed. You can't go any faster than 1/4 until you can build up battery power. Now, that sounds like a theory. Okay, then I need to go on surface to charge my battery. Nope, Wargaming has changed that altogether. If you can go equal to a 1/4 speed, which you're about to see right now, that charges your battery. Look at it, watch. You'll see right here. There it is. My battery is starting to go up the points. So I literally could just get into position as quick as I can under the water, not being seen, kept deep in the dive, and just wait for the right moment and hit somebody with the torpedoes. I'm charging the batteries right now. Now, back up. If you're backing up, yeah, you're going to drain the batteries, but if you just throttle jockey just a little bit, you're negating that whole rule because you're still at that, quote, 1/4 speed. Now, let's get on to the mechanic about pings. What if some people have not seen me play or people don't know how it is? You get a pinging system. As you can clearly see, I just pinged that submarine with 2. One on the front, one in the rear. Now, there's 2 different buttons. There's the, for the ping, there's a wide beam, which takes a very long time to, it does a wide beam of it, a decent amount, and it does a narrow focused one. The wider one takes a longer time to recharge it. and a shorter one, well, understandable. Now, if you're going for a very close target, you can go for narrow ones, or if something you can blatantly get a good hit on and easily put the points on, then you're fine. You need one ping to home on a target, and then you need 2 of them to do the big damage. You need the front and the rear. That activates the magnetizing of the torpedo, so to speak. And you're going to see a clear example of that with this ship once I get it pinged. Now, you can see that this is one of the biggest gripes I have. It's getting sometimes these pings on ships, even though they're going slow as hell. I have a very extreme tendency to mess this up way too often, where I'm trying to hit the ping, and see right there, I didn't lead it enough, and now I'm not hitting him. Now I got him. It takes a bit, and that's problematic for me. And I'm probably saying, nah, Raz, you're just stinking. You need to get better at it. Well, true, I can understand that, but still, it's quite annoying when you're trying to hit something and you mess up. And look at the damage this happens to. 2 magnetized, by the way, just 2 torpedoes. That was a full tier 6 battleship. Gone. Wham. Thanos snapped out of existence. Yeah, that's the thing. Now, what the Germans have that makes it unique to the table, like every other ship we talked about before, is again the hydroacoustic. Now, this ship has a hydroacoustic range of, I think, 3 kilometers underwater and 4 above water, which is bloody overpowered. I'm sorry, that is just so unfair. Now, I was a little afraid here because this is a Dallas. Now, Dallas, as we said before, could drop torpedoes. Luckily, I was given all the cards in my favor, as this giant gentleman of a cruiser is yes, you're right, kids, he's a bot. So he isn't a real ship player. He's not even there of an existence. So I can get my distance. I'm gonna carry some distance away, just enough, just to get out of there, and then we'll put 2 pings on him and pop a shot on him. We just gotta wait till we get into position. That's just, what you gotta do. But let's get on to what I say is the 2, I guess, semi-decent complaints I have with them. Now, these things are bloody overpowered to a battleship, and I think that it needs a slight reduction in damage because the magnetizing of the torpedoes on certain ships needs to be bloody way too overpowered. Because torpedoes doing Citadel damage at that much, where it was only 2 torpedoes that hit that tier 6, and I removed them from the game. Where us battleship players, we're lucky if we get a full salvo that's that accurate that will do enough Citadel damage from full health, let alone devastating strike them. So I just feel that very uncomfortable, and I feel that it's a little just too strong, my taste. Just one of those things I have issues with. But I digress. Now, the second thing I feel that it needs to be addressed is this battery power. I am all for to keep players at least some advantage to keep fighting in a game as much as they can. But this alone, what the hey, man? Just seems a little too, I don't know, it just feels blatantly unfair, because if a player has to get these suckers out in some shape or form, let's say all the cruisers are gone or destroyers are gone, how's the battleship players, or let alone aircraft players, supposed to take them out if they're still submerged and there's no way to get them up? They could just stay in the water the whole time. They could literally just keep hidden, because you have the ability to just stay out of the water, unleash multiple torpedoes without being seen or spotted, and had the ability to inflict massive damage. And there's no way to counteract it. If all the light cruisers and battle destroyers are dead, who's to counteract them? And in the game, you can literally just sit on the bottom of the ocean, watch your batteries slowly charge up, and apparently crew members are not feeling any effects of like the gas from the engines intaking the air, or all the carbon monoxide from them all breathing, all the stress underneath the few meters under the water. Yeah, it just doesn't sit well for me, and it shouldn't sit well for even any of you here. And that's one of my things. There should be a mechanic where if a player's prolonged too much in the water, he has to return to the surface or something. I don't know. There's gotta be some shape or form for them to constantly say, yeah, the player has to go up to the surface to take care of this. Now, that's also problematic because what if it's a cruiser there? He's screwed, but I can't satisfy everyone in this one. It's just so difficult to set it in the right way. But I digress. This is just what we're going to have to deal with. Now, for the last tidbit, I wanted to show you folks on the damage that gets done to these submarines when they get caught in a pickle. Now, later in the match, in this one in question, we have a very elusive destroyer who's very, very much knowing its skill set. Now, I'm under the water, clearly, and I'm going pretty deep. Look at the damage. I'm literally getting hit by this guy, pounded by depth charges, and I have no way to defend myself because he's in that position to do massive damage, and I have no way to counteract because he's zigzagging very well. He's keeping to a very close distance by me, and the blast waves are now causing floods and fires. So this is where the submarines are definitely like rock, paper, scissors. Rock crushes scissors, and I am the scissors right now because rock is just above me and just pounding me to a pulvering bits. And I got no way to counteract them, and my other two destroyer friends aren't doing that much better either. Submarine players aren't doing anything better. They're missing altogether, or they don't even know how to launch their torpedoes with even putting the pings on. So, go figure. Unfortunately. But I think that pretty much sums up the air submarines. Let's go actually and play the meta for the submarines. Let's go play the other meta. Sorry guys, so let's play with the other meta. This is the American, we're just pulled out an American tier 6 Monahan, which we did a review on that most people criticized on. But our viewpoint on this one is going to be how they interact with the submarines in the match. You guys need to know as much as I had to do. So this is where things get unique. Now, as you see, there's an extra key now on destroyers. This is also going to add it to the probably the Smolensk, the Worcester, and because it's already on the Dallas, and Dallas has this key too, the G key. Now, what that key does is it drops one of, and it says on mine, I have 3 charges. It drops 1 of 3 charges of depth charges on a target in question. It'll just launch them off the boat. Now, most cases, you would say, okay, I gotta target this guy, and then like focus them, get all the pings in motion, and they'll automatically drop them. No, Wargaming has changed it altogether. Now you have a hydrophone, which allows detection of submarines, just like in World War II. In most cases, that was the way the detection was done. And I see that there's a spotted, looks like some ship in the distance. I'm going up to investigate, and hopefully my intel getting close enough will give me answers to what it is. You can see it right there. It says flashing, like, looks like a circle or something, and there he is. There's the submarine, and you can see, yes, it's saying about out of bounds. That's because it's below the water, it's a sub. So because everybody's trying to shoot it in the water, and well, that's working well for them. Now it's just gonna sit and wait till I get in position again. So we're gonna wait and get in position here. Now we did do some damage, not too much. So now I'm going to drop some torpedoes on that battleship, and you can see what I'm planning on doing is I'm intercepting this guy. I'm literally intercepting this dude right into his path, and then there they go. You hear the clicking, and there they go. That quick, just 1, 2, 3, gone. And that's what makes this thing so bloody powerful. And this is not including all the other skills that these ships have. Subs also, if they hit the water and a torpedo hits them above water, technically that's a hit, so that's dead ship too. That's just the sad part of this. And that's going to be one of the things we're going to be having to see how that's going to interact in the later parts of the testing. I'm actually looking forward to Wargaming allow a lot of us general community, not just the community contributors, but a lot more people get a chance to try them out, get to play with the interaction with these ships, and add more to the discussion. It's gonna happen. And it's like what Thanos said that he was an inevitable. I can't even pronounce it right, but you know what I mean by that. It's gonna happen. It's bound to happen. It's not like if, it's gonna be when, and we need to know when, how to put all the info for the game. Well folks, that pretty much just sums up the test server. So write in the comments down below if you think of any ideas you want to add to it, and what kind of things else. As always, take care. Hope to see you all on the high seas.